All right, Becca. This is my interview for Becca Cunningham. She is the creator of Becca Bands, so we're going to ask her a few questions today. All right, Becca. So, what made you decide to open up your own business or create Becca Bands?
Well, when I was in high school, I worked at a boutique, and I got to see like a lot of different lines and different designers that are selling to boutiques. And I was thinking like, wow, like this is great. They get to be creative and then work with different vendors to get their designs out there. And so I was like looking at all these different venues and like that I could possibly sell at and things that people were making. And I realized accessories are a great business because it takes like little cost and people love it. It's great for gifts and just like ways to spice up your wardrobe. So I just started thinking like, okay, like what could I create that is like a small investment that people really want. And I started noticing actually when I was studying abroad this past summer with retail merchandising at FSU that turban headbands were like a huge deal. So I just was like, hey, this would be like a cool thing to make.
Okay, awesome. So, you mentioned that you didn't have to put a lot of money forth, and one of the myths of entrepreneurship is that you have to have a lot of money to create a business. So, with your small investment, how little did you really start with?
Well, to start off with, I actually like went to my parents and I was like, hey, like I just need a little bit of money to like start myself off with. So I think I just started out with $100. That was like my base investment. And I actually went online to buy my materials just because in Florida you don't really have that many options when it comes to buying fabric, since you either have like Joann's fabric or Hobby Lobby, and it's not very like good quality and it's kind of expensive. So I just like went online and found some fabric options that I could get like a yard of fabric for $5, and then I can make like 3 bands from that and sell them for 15. But it was definitely at first when I was first investing in it, I was putting money into it and I was just like not even breaking even, and it took me about 5 months to break even and start making a profit. But once I got to that point, it's like a very profitable industry to be in.
Awesome. Okay, so as far as industry and targeting your audience, how did you go about searching where you wanted to put up your bands, how you wanted to advertise, and how you were really going to try and reach the audience that you wanted?
Well, it's really been a growing and evolving process, because at first when I was making them, I was thinking about the girls that I was studying abroad with, because we're all like college age, like love fashion, and so I was like, okay, what other opportunity am I going to have in my life that I'm at a university where there's probably like 20,000 girls, and a lot of them are in Greek life. And the thing about Greek life is that they're very trend driven and they like to have like the latest thing. So my first target market was sorority girls, because I knew that they had expendable cash and they just like wanted things in their sorority colors and prints that were like reminiscent of like Tory Burch and Lily Pulitzer. So I started off with them, and then from there I decided to develop my Etsy site, which is a kind of different market, because when you're on Etsy, you're attracting a certain demographic of people that also like to create and have their own personal style. So my Etsy site is still growing right now, since technically I have a lot of sales just through people at FSU approaching me through Facebook and being like, hey, like I love your bands, I would love to get one. But as like I'm reaching out to Etsy, my style's kind of evolving for that consumer. And then on top of it, I'm also trying to get into local boutiques right now, like Cole Couture and that kind of thing. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay. So your marketing has mainly been through, you kind of started through sororities and then being on Etsy and seeing the different kinds of creativity there and the different kinds of people that were coming to you. Is that how you kind of also have been looking at like where the trends are going and whatnot too?
Definitely. Since when I started out, I was just thinking I'm just going to sew a couple of headbands. And then as it grew, I'm trying to like think of all the different markets I could get into. People have expressed interest in wanting baby bands for babies, like cute little soft fabrics. I'm currently selling headbands in St. Augustine, Florida at a gym. So I have to do some like more workout oriented headbands. And then come spring, summer, I would love to get into bandeau tops as well, since that's like technically a band. So there's like a lot of room for growth within my little brand.
Okay. So I know you said you started on Etsy, and everything is kind of like would you say that your sales are mainly through the internet?
Actually, since Etsy has been like a great platform for me, but I've come to realize like since Facebook reaches so many people that if I post something on Facebook, that people will just message me and I'll meet them up on campus, which, I mean, it's perfect since my target market is primarily FSU students. Since I actually ran a sale a couple weeks ago where I said, okay, I'm going to post these bands, they're $10, first person to claim it, I'll meet them on campus and like bring it to them. And I actually sold 8 bands in 10 minutes. So it was like really cool because I think people love to shop online, but college students, we hate paying shipping, we hate waiting. So by like providing a service that I'm like, I will bring it to you and you could pay it with cash or credit card because I have like the little square that you can put in your phone. So by making it like that accessible, I think it attracts college students a lot more. So I would say right now, Facebook is actually my greatest tool.
So as far as really the internet goes, like social media platforms have been working for you the best.
Absolutely. Since right now, Becca Bands has close to 500 likes on Facebook, which is really great because I think I have like 600 Facebook friends. So, I mean, and like a lot of them, I think only 200 of them are my friends and the rest are
just grown.
Exactly. So it's exciting.
All right. So on to kind of like creating your own like design. I know that maybe you haven't like put a patent on it, like necessarily, but how do you go about kind of keeping your style unique and like setting yourself apart from other people who are creating maybe the same style turban or headband?
Well, one of the things that's the biggest difference between my headbands and others is that I don't use elastic in my headbands because I just know when I wear headbands, elastic, it's just really uncomfortable and annoying. So I try to choose fabrics that have a natural stretch to them. And sometimes they can stretch out over time, but then you just throw them in the wash and they shrink right back up. And I just like that better because when you're wearing a headband, like it's already something that maybe is outside of your comfort zone for a lot of people. So you don't want it to like make them uncomfortable as well because they might already be taking like a risk by wearing it. So yeah, and to keep it like fresh and original, I have like my little logo, which is a little bumblebee. So it's a little bumblebee and then it says BB, and I sew them on the back of every headband so you know if it's a Becca band or not.
Okay, awesome. And you mentioned that they are machine washable. That's something you don't really hear every day. So did you think to do that as like also an incentive, like wow, these are different? Like,
I mean, I guess I didn't really think about that. I just thought about like what would I want. And some of the fabrics are not machine washable because if they're like silk jersey, then it's like spot wash. But those don't really stretch out, so it's not really an issue of having them to shrink them back up. But with the cotton jersey ones, I figured like if you're running around in it and it's getting sweaty and gross, like you want to be able to just throw it in the wash and throw it back on. So
awesome. So as you've been developing this company, how have you kind of gone from just simple Becca bands to like expanding your market? Like what new ideas have you been maybe thinking about?
Well, I think the number one way that I get inspired is like my customers will be like, hey, like you should do this, and like just hearing people's opinions on it. But I think whenever like I just get inspired, it's because I saw something. So I'll just see something and I'll be like, wow, that's really cool. I want to do that. So with the bandeaus, I just saw a lot of girls wearing them with the high-waisted shorts. Or like I'll be out shopping and I'll be like, look at something and I'll be like, oh, I can make that. So yeah, I definitely want to expand into bandeaus in the future. And also because I love apparel design. And it's something that I would love to get into, but it's very time consuming. So I feel like bandeaus are a nice bridge in between. Like, okay, it's not as simple as a headband, but it's not like I have to design and sew an entire line of like exactly an entire wardrobe. So
And you also mentioned that you wanted to get your bands into boutiques.
Yes.
Like, how do you go about that? And where, like, what are you targeting in regards? Oh, you're fine.
But,
in regards to like Tallahassee.
Well, in regards to Tallahassee, it's still a growing process because right now I have my bands in 2 boutiques in St. Augustine. I have one in a day spa, St. Augustine Spa and Laser, so that's really great, and then the gym. But in Tallahassee, it's been a growing process because we have a great network of small boutiques and small businesses. But what I've been doing so far is I've just been collecting information about my boutique, my line, and putting together like a letter to like the owners explaining who I am and what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Then I'll include like a sheet of paper that has like past styles and designs. And then the way that I'm trying to target these boutiques is saying that I'm going to design a line of headbands exclusively for them with prints that are like cohesive with their store. So if it's like a boutique that's very into like bright and colorful prints, I'll find those kind of prints. But if it's like a more subdued, laid back kind of feel, like I'll find prints that fit them. And I've also been trying to include a free Becca band with the information. That way they have like a physical band to see and be like, is this something that like I would want to carry in my shop? But I think it'd be great though just to have it in boutiques because it makes it more of like a local experience because you're buying from a local designer, handmade from a local boutique, and I think a lot of people are gravitating more towards that.
Okay, awesome. And as far as when you reach out to these boutiques and you want to sell in, massive quantities, how do you go about, dealing with being a wholesaler now and selling in bulk versus selling for profit? You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
How do you make your profit when you initially make your first wholesale?
Right. Well, wholesale is definitely a lot different than selling it directly to the consumer. When I do wholesale and selling in bulk, I typically reduce my cost since if they're buying in bulk, I'm still going to be making a profit because I'm selling more. And I also want to allow them enough wiggle room to be able to mark up my bands without it being like impossible because otherwise what keeps consumers buying it just directly from me if they could get it cheaper? So it's like I had to put together a table that shows like, okay, this is the quantity and this is how much it's going to be. And it's like the cost per band goes down as you get into higher quantities. So it encourages them to buy more. So if I sell 10 for 15 each, but you could buy 20 for 12 each. And so it like makes there be an incentive for them to buy more and invest more in me. So
have you had success in the 2 boutiques that you're in now?
Definitely. It's been a wonderful experience, just like hearing the feedback from the businesses and people that love it. One of my favorite stories was a woman bought one from one of the boutiques in St. Augustine, and I had a friend that works at Publix there, and she saw someone wearing one of my bands and was like, oh, do you know Becca? And she's like, oh, no, I just bought it from the boutique. And I thought that was really cool that there's like people out there that I don't know that are wearing my bands. So
awesome. So do you think that in the future, opening up your own location would be something that you would be looking into?
Well, if I opened up a shop, I probably would have to expand the line a lot more since I wouldn't want to just be a boutique that sells headbands. But I would definitely love to open something in the future. But I think right now I'm just going to focus on expanding the brand because since it is a small business, it's just me. And so as the brand grows, it's like more pressure, more time, and more investment. So I definitely like want to look into like, okay, like if eventually I want to get it sent off to be made and like having to work with factories and having spec sheets and being able to like churn out more bands at a time because if you want to like grow, you have to have the quantity. And it's hard to like knock out hundreds of bands when you're a student and working out of like your apartment. But
so let's say in the future, if you were going to expand, what kind of business partners would you look for? Like who would you need to kind of get together like a startup crew for like your own line?
Well, I would definitely just want to find people that are as passionate about textiles as I am because I think a lot of people that are interested in fashion kind of just think like, oh, like I just like clothes. But it's like really there's a science behind it. Like I have to use fabrics with stretch. Like I want things that aren't itchy. I want them to be versatile and able to throw in the wash. So I think having a team of people that really know textiles and really like have a passion for fabric would probably be my number one. And then if I eventually do get to go into production, I would love it to be like a based in America kind of feel to it, just because I would want to stay true to like my handmade, like kind of like organic roots started here kind of vibe. So I'd probably want that.
Awesome. So where are you originally from?
Well, I'm actually from Long Beach, New York, but then I moved to St. Augustine, Florida. And I also think that really had a big influence because I love New York and like the diversity and the mashup and all these people doing creative, exciting things. And then St. Augustine is just like one of the most beautiful historic cities in the country. So I've been really fortunate to like live in places that really inspire me.
Awesome. Okay. Let's go ahead and double check where we're at. Okay. And that has been the interview with
Thank
Becca
you.
Cunningham. Okay. Love your Becca bands. They're
thanks.
beautiful. And until next time.